The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg is a book that explores how habits are formed, and how they can be changed to improve our lives. The first chapter of the book, titled The Habit Loop: How Habits Work, introduces the basic concept of how habits are formed and how they shape our lives. Duhigg defines a habit as a behavior that is repeated regularly, often unconsciously, and that tends to occur in response to a particular cue or trigger. He explains that habits are formed through a process that he calls the habit loop, which consists of three elements: the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is the trigger that sets off the habit loop. It can be anything from a particular time of day, to a certain location, to a specific emotion or thought. The routine is the behavior that follows the cue. This is the habit itself, the behavior that we repeat automatically. The reward is the positive reinforcement that we receive from engaging in the behavior. It can be anything from a physical sensation, to a feeling of accomplishment, to a sense of relief. Duhigg explains that habits are formed through a process of trial and error. When we first engage in a particular behavior, we may not receive a reward, or the reward may not be very satisfying. However, over time, we learn to associate the behavior with the reward, and the habit becomes more ingrained. Eventually, the behavior becomes automatic, and we engage in it without even thinking about it. The author illustrates the habit loop by using examples of individuals who have successfully changed their habits. One such example is that of Eugene Pauly, a man who was able to quit smoking by changing his routine. Pauly was able to identify the cues that triggered his smoking habit, and he was able to replace the routine of smoking with a new behavior that provided him with a similar reward. By doing so, he was able to break his smoking habit. Duhigg also explains that habits can be changed by identifying the cue and reward associated with the habit, and then replacing the routine with a new behavior. By doing so, we can create a new habit loop that leads to a more positive outcome. However, he cautions that changing habits can be difficult, and it often requires a great deal of effort and persistence. In conclusion, the first chapter of The Power of Habit provides a clear and concise explanation of how habits work, and how they shape our lives. By understanding the habit loop, we can begin to identify the cues and rewards that are associated with our habits, and we can begin to make positive changes in our lives by replacing our old habits with new, more beneficial ones. In Chapter 2 of The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, titled The Craving Brain: How to Create New Habits, the author delves deeper into the science behind habits and explains how to create new ones. He emphasizes that changing a habit requires more than just willpower and motivation. It requires understanding the role of the brain's craving system in creating and maintaining habits. Duhigg explains that habits are formed through the brain's reward system, which is responsible for creating a sense of pleasure and satisfaction when we engage in a particular behavior. However, the reward system also creates cravings, which are intense desires for the reward associated with a habit. Cravings are what drive us to repeat a behavior, even if we know it's not good for us. The author suggests that to create new habits, we must understand the role of cravings and how they are created. He explains that every habit has a cue, a routine, and a reward. The cue triggers the behavior, the routine is the behavior itself, and the reward is the positive reinforcement that we receive from engaging in the behavior. Duhigg introduces the concept of habit reversal training, which involves identifying the cue and reward associated with a habit, and then replacing the routine with a new behavior that provides the same reward. This process can help create new habits that are more beneficial. To illustrate this point, Duhigg provides the example of Tony Dungy, a successful football coach who was able to create a new habit of positive thinking by using habit reversal training. Dungy noticed that he had a tendency to dwell on negative thoughts during games, which affected his coaching. He began to identify the cues that triggered his negative thoughts and replaced his routine of dwelling on them with a new behavior, focusing on positive thoughts instead. By doing so, he was able to create a new habit of positive thinking that improved his coaching and his life. Duhigg also discusses the importance of small wins in creating new habits. By setting small, achievable goals, we can create a sense of accomplishment and positive reinforcement that can help us continue to develop new habits. He also emphasizes the importance of repetition, noting that the more we repeat a behavior, the more it becomes automatic. Finally, the author cautions that creating new habits is not easy and requires effort and persistence. However, by understanding the science behind habits and using habit reversal training, small wins, and repetition, we can create new habits that improve our lives. In conclusion, Chapter 2 of The Power of Habit provides a more in-depth explanation of the role of the brain's craving system in creating and maintaining habits. By understanding the science behind habits and using habit reversal training, small wins, and repetition, we can create new habits that are more beneficial and improve our lives. Chapter 3 of The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg is titled The Golden Rule of Habit Change: Why Transformation Occurs. In this chapter, the author explains the importance of understanding the cues, routines, and rewards that shape our habits, and how to use this knowledge to make meaningful changes in our lives. Duhigg begins by recounting the story of a woman named Lisa Allen, who transformed her life by quitting smoking, losing weight, and running a marathon. Lisa's transformation, according to the author, was the result of a deliberate effort to change her habits by understanding the golden rule of habit change. The golden rule of habit change, according to Duhigg, is to keep the same cue and reward, but change the routine. This means that to change a habit, we must first identify the cue that triggers it and the reward that reinforces it. Once we understand these elements, we can experiment with new routines that provide the same reward but in a more beneficial way. To illustrate this concept, Duhigg discusses the case of Alcoholics Anonymous, AA, a program that helps individuals overcome addiction by providing a supportive community and a new routine to replace the addictive behavior. AA's program is based on the understanding that the cue for addiction is often stress or anxiety, and the reward is a sense of relief or escape. By replacing the addictive behavior with a new routine, such as attending AA meetings, individuals can create new habits that are more beneficial. Duhigg also discusses the importance of belief in changing habits. He notes that individuals who believe they can change are more likely to succeed than those who do not. This is because belief creates a sense of self-efficacy, or the belief in one's ability to change, which is a key factor in habit change. Furthermore, the author emphasizes the importance of social support in habit change. He notes that individuals who have supportive networks, such as family or friends, are more likely to succeed in changing their habits than those who do not. This is because social support provides a sense of accountability and encouragement that can help individuals stay motivated and committed to their goals. Finally, Duhigg cautions that changing habits is not easy and requires persistence and patience. He notes that it can take weeks or even months to create new habits, and setbacks are common. However, by using the golden rule of habit change, belief, and social support, individuals can make meaningful changes in their lives. In conclusion, Chapter 3 of The Power of Habit provides a framework for understanding the golden rule of habit change and how to use it to make meaningful changes in our lives. By identifying the cue and reward of our habits and experimenting with new routines, we can create new habits that are more beneficial. Furthermore, belief and social support are important factors in habit change, and persistence and patience are essential for success. Chapter 4 of The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg is titled Keystone Habits, or The Ballad of Paul O'Neill. The chapter explores the concept of keystone habits, which are small changes in behavior that can have a ripple effect and lead to the development of other positive habits. The chapter begins with the story of Paul O'Neill, the former CEO of Alcoa, a large aluminum manufacturer. When O'Neill took over as CEO in 1987, Alcoa was struggling. However, O'Neill had a unique approach to leadership. He believed that by focusing on improving one specific habit, he could transform the entire company. The habit he chose to focus on was workplace safety. O'Neill believed that if he could make Alcoa the safest company in the industry, it would lead to improvements in other areas as well. By focusing on safety, he was able to create a culture of accountability and transparency within the company. He encouraged employees to report any safety concerns or near misses, which led to increased communication and collaboration across departments. As a result, Alcoa's productivity and profits improved significantly. Duhigg uses O'Neill's story to illustrate the concept of keystone habits. He argues that certain habits can have a disproportionate impact on our lives and can serve as a catalyst for the development of other positive habits. For example, exercising regularly can lead to improvements in diet, sleep, and overall health. To identify keystone habits, Duhigg suggests looking for habits that have a ripple effect, meaning they lead to other positive changes. He also suggests looking for habits that provide a sense of accomplishment or confidence, as these can motivate us to make other positive changes. The author goes on to provide several examples of keystone habits. He discusses the story of a woman named Angie Bachman, who was able to overcome alcohol addiction by developing a new habit of running. Running provided her with a sense of accomplishment and self-discipline, which helped her overcome other addictive behaviors. Duhigg also discusses the power of keystone habits in organizations. He provides examples of companies, such as Starbucks and Target, that have used keystone habits to transform their businesses. For example, Starbucks focused on providing excellent customer service as its keystone habit, which led to improvements in employee morale, productivity, and customer satisfaction. In conclusion, Chapter 4 of The Power of Habit introduces the concept of keystone habits and how they can lead to the development of other positive habits. By identifying keystone habits, we can make small changes that have a significant impact on our lives. Furthermore, organizations can use keystone habits to transform their businesses by focusing on specific behaviors that can lead to improvements across the board.